Do you remember back in Aragon, when Aragon first was leaving Carvajal with Brahm, and Aragon steals a bunch of materials from the tanning shop, he steals some meat, he steals some stuff as he sneaks out of town, and he thinks to himself, one day I'll repay these debts. I'm just borrowing this stuff and I will pay them back one day, so it's not really stealing. Remember how we said that sometime in the future, that moment was going to come back, and that would be like a promise Aragon had made? Here is another one of those promises that's going to come up later on. Saphira's promise. Book Blitz. Welcome back. Today, we return, unfortunately, to Aragon and Saphira. And Aragon and Saphira are summoned by Hrothgar, the dwarf king Hrothgar. And you may remember, we thought that Hrothgar was kind of a cool character in the last book, and I think he still is. I think he's probably... It's funny to me how Ajahad and Hrothgar and Galbatorix are all really cool characters when you eventually meet them. Or at the very least, really interesting characters. And I like Hrothgar a lot. I like all of his interactions with Aragon a lot, because he, like, more than Ajahad, comes across kingly, and a lot of his interactions actually kind of make sense with Aragon. He kind of comes across in this very diplomatic way, which I like a lot. He's very believable. So Hrothgar tells Aragon and Saphira how grateful he is for their role in ending the battle, and he tells them that he is having the best dwarven smiths repair Saphira's armor, as well as Aragon's armor, and it's theirs to keep. And it's a very kingly gift. It's a wonderful gift, and they thank him. And Hrothgar then tries to get Aragon's perspective on the whole Nasuada thing. And without revealing too much, Aragon lets Hrothgar know that he does approve of Nasuada's role, and he thinks that it's going to be a good choice, which is comforting to Hrothgar, because Hrothgar is looking at this power structure that's been in place now that Ajahad's dead, and he sees the signs of cracks and the signs of danger. And so he's kind of comforted by the fact that Aragon's going to back all of this up. And so here's where we come across Saphira's promise. Hrothgar, like all the dwarves, is miserable because of the destruction of Isidar Mithrim, the Star Sapphire, which was a necessary sacrifice, as you may remember, because Arya broke the Star Sapphire, which gave Aragon the opportunity to slay Durza at the end of the last book. However, it was a terrible loss to the dwarves, because this was a very prized, maybe the most prized of all dwarven heirlooms that has been destroyed. And Hrothgar understands it was necessary, but he's also very, very sad about it. And Saphira says, hey, look, I'm a dragon. I got you.
Dude, for real.
I'm a dragon. I can do literally anything. Literally anything.
At any time.
At any time, if I just need to enough.
You got a dead guy? Mwah. A diamond too. All right? You got a broken crystal masterpiece. Mwah, I got you, baby. It's coming back. It's coming right back better than ever. Okay? Like
Saphira, and here's the thing about Saphira. We talked about this a little in the last book, but remember how we've said before that in this series, just about every significant problem gets resolved with Deus Ex Machina? Saphira is a special case because dragons are built-in Deus Ex Machina machines as far as the plot's concerned. If anything gets too dangerous, Saphira is right there. If anything gets to, like, if you need really, really powerful magic to do something, Saphira is right there. And this actually begs the question, Yeah, I understand that the dwarves are upset about this and that and whatever. Like, they wish that the sapphire had never been destroyed. But what is the problem with allowing that consequence to just remain a consequence? I mean, that could have gone in interesting directions where the very destruction of the star sapphire could have been a motivation in a negative sense of the dwarves against Aragon and Saphira, where it stewed bad blood and all this stuff. That could have led to some interesting plot points, especially considering how obsessed with political intrigue in these books Polini's about to be. But instead, we need an excuse for everyone to love Aragon and Saphira. So they are going to promise, Saphira is going to promise that she is going to heal the star sapphire, and she can do it just because she can. Which Saphira has blatantly stated in the past, she has no control over when she's able or not able to do some of that incredible magic she's able to do at times. We've heard from her herself. She has no control over this. But she's making this promise anyway. And in fact, Aragon points that out. Aragon, this is page 49. Aragon gaped at her, forgetting Hrothgar in his astonishment. Saphira, the energy that would require. You told me yourself that you can't use magic at will, so what makes you so sure you can do this? I can do it if the need is great enough.
God.
Oh my gosh. And she's like, hey, remember how I turned Brahm's tomb into a diamond? Yeah, I could do that, so I can do this. It's okay. I can do it if the need is great enough. That is the most bullshit answer. That is the most bullshit excuse for Saphira's insane magic powers. Because literally what that says to me is, I can do it if Polini writes himself into a corner. That's what I hear when I see that. I hear I can do it if there's a plot hole. I can do it if there needs to be a Deus Ex Machina. I can do it if there's an impossible situation. Like, that's what you're saying when you say I can do it when the need is great enough. You're basically saying, I don't want her to be able to do crazy stuff all the time, but whenever I want her to, she needs to be able to, so yeah, the need's really great right now, The need's really, really great. Which begs the question, by the way, why, in situations, for example, like, I don't know, one of the last chapters of the last book, Aragon is weakened, slashed across the back, about to die at the hands of Durza. And it's not Saphira who used her incredible magic to break the Star Sapphire. That was Arya. Arya broke the Star Sapphire, flying on Saphira's back. So you're telling me that the need is great enough to unlock the mysterious, incredible dragon magic when the dwarves' favorite decoration got broken, but not when Aragon's life, and by extension Saphira's own life, are in terrible danger. It feels so inconsistent. It's like, it's the most mundane shit. It's the most mundane shit that is the need is great enough. Anyway.
No, it's very, it's very weak. Like, it's very just whatever I need at whatever time. This is what's happening. Deal. Like, I don't know how to put it. It's just dragons are mysterious. They're the Pokemon of this war universe, but you can't capture them. Like, every single dragon is like a legendary Pokemon. It can just do stuff just because it can do stuff. But because we can't allow their overwhelming magic to, like, basically make me unable to write any plot whatsoever, because I've given a creature the ability to just do anything at any time. Like, why can't she turn another dragon into just a bunch of diamond when she's under attack? Why can't she just, turn all... Wow, she did like a super gaze, and now everything is crazy town. Like, why is it that... I don't know, like, yeah, it's very... It's very...
Because
okay,
it's implied that dragons have this incredible potential to do ridiculous stuff. And so far, both of Saphira's, I'm just going to come out and say what they are, miracles, are directly related to making shiny rocks.
It is true.
Either making shiny rocks or fixing shiny rocks.
It's true. The only other one that I can think of is later on with the baby. Because that's Aragon, sort of. But in the end, it's also like Saphira fixes it. Like, doesn't fix it, but like she makes it powerful by touching the baby with her nose, I think, if that's right.
Well, it was Saphira touching the baby with her nose in the first place that gives that character that we'll see later on the mark on her forehead in the first place.
Man, God, I just, why are all these things that are just so unnecessary so important? And they're just not. And they're just not important, like at all, in the slightest. Anyway, yeah, it's just, I don't know. In this chapter, it's just, okay, she's making a promise. And you're like, how is it going to happen? Like, but I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right here, right now, dear reader, that this, dear listener, that this problem is not like some interesting point at which, okay, how is she going to do this? She said she can't do that. Then what's the tension? Oh my gosh, how is it going to work? It just happens. Like, because we know what's happening. Like, so far in the story, all she's done is promise. So it kind of is like this lingering, I wonder how this will happen. But I mean, it isn't though. Because when time comes, like, it just happens. Like, they go, okay, on this Tuesday we're all meeting and we're all going to, Saphira will then repair the jewel, and then yes. So. And then Saphira shows up at the meeting. Wow, and then she fixed it. Oh my God! Like, I don't know. There's lots of moments like that in this story where, it would have been interesting. You made a promise you can't necessarily keep, and then you've got to figure out how in the world you're going to keep it, and that actually being like a struggle, and that being an interesting point. But instead, it's just like, oh, behold. The problem is fixed. But without that problem being fixed, even being interesting in and of itself, and like, what comes to mind for me, and I'm sorry that I keep comparing this book to Harry Potter, but so there's the whole thing with like figuring out how to breathe underwater for the next thing in Harry Potter. He's looking in the Goblet of Fire. He's got to figure out how to breathe underwater, and he doesn't know what to do. And he tries really hard, and he can't figure it out. And then he wakes up, and then Dobby offers him this herb, which will actually allow him to breathe underwater. And so he's, in a sense, Deus Ex Machina out of the issue. Like, he couldn't solve the problem. He doesn't know what he's doing. Dobby shows up randomly, gives him a thing. Well, that would be, if it stayed like that, like, oh, okay, and that was that, like, just Dobby helped him out, then it would be much like Aragon. Just like, okay, well, I guess. Okay, that's one way to make a problem that's not, like, that literally has no point at all. But then the reason that Deus Ex Machina out of that issue then becomes part of a larger issue of how that even happened in the first place, which gets solved by the end of the book. You realize that wasn't just Deus Ex Machina. That was some serious crap that went down. But you didn't know it at the time. And so, but that never happens in Aragon. There's never any deeper meaning to any of these things. Even when he tries to, like with the baby that we've mentioned, she ends up just kind of being a sort of semi-plot relevant hero. That character who exists, and she provides something that's really important. But only just, and she's just kind of there just to kind of provide this one very particular thing that only she can provide. She's not interesting. it's not really part of any sort of larger like plan exactly. You could say it's a larger plan that, oh wow, she was made here, but then now she's solving a problem in this book. Wow, like, I mean, it's like okay, what if actually in Harry Potter this could work, but it's just like, what if what was that, like, there's like that wizard that Harry like shakes his hand in the first book, and it's like, I think it's Daedalus Diddle is his name, like, you shook hands with Daedalus Diddle. Little did you know, chosen one, that by shaking his hand, he gained a power. And then, like, you literally never see Daedalus Diddle again. Or when you do, it's really minor and he's a really annoying character. But then, like, on the last book, all of a sudden he's just hanging out with, like, Harry and Hermione and Ron. And he has this, like, one very particular thing that helps you defeat Voldemort. Doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like a poorly developed plot mechanism, plot release solution for an issue that the author has artificially created, and it doesn't work. And so this instance of Saphira promising this is just one amongst many, many, many problems like this, which exist. And you're like, how is this going to be solved? And they just do get solved. And there's not a tension, there's not any like mystery behind it, there's no lingering, yeah. It's just like, it just kind of, when the time comes, they just get solved. And it just happens. And while that would be a very wonderful life to live, it's a very poor story to read. Anyway, that's
Well, all that said, the last thing to talk about in this chapter, it's so stupid.
You're struggling, man.
You know what I'm about to talk about, right?
I think I will when you say it.
When Saphira... Well, of course you will when I say it. When Aragon and Saphira, being the heroes of the dwarves for having promised to heal the star sapphire...
Oh God, I forgot. I'm really not over.
Become only even more of local celebrities than they already are.
Oh my God.
And all the dwarves get together and they throw a big party.
God.
And Aragon and Saphira get wasted.
For no reason.
It's completely, entirely pointless. The only thing with any sort of value in here is maybe humor, I guess.
But it's not funny.
It's not funny.
Really
it's
not.
Here it is. It is
it's like
a chance
it's
for
like
Aragon to go, remember when in the last book I got drunk and you made fun of me? Well, now you're going to get drunk, Saphira.
God, it's so bad. It is so, like, just hearing that reminds me of how much this is just a giant D&D session. Like, you know what I mean?
It's so true.
Like,
it's like the dwarves are very happy because you made this promise. I don't know how on earth you're gonna roll a dice roll that good, but we'll figure that out later.
But okay.
But the dwarves are overjoyed about it, I guess. So they want to throw you a big party. I get super wasted. roll 20 for wasted. Like
dude, dragon. Oh, dude, I roll a 10. I roll a 20 for guzzling the entire barrel as a dragon, and then like, dude, you totally do it. Like, oh crap.
Oh my god. And that's the thing. It's like that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like it's just. I think it's meant to be a kind of a decompressor because the whole beginning of this book has been really, really heavy. Like, it's, we've got Ajahad's death, Murtagh's implied death, the twins' disappearance, all in the first chapter. And then we have the aftermath of this being political intrigue and, and all these treacherous plots and Aragon making plans with Niswada and kingly gifts and Roran's domestic issues and finding out there's an army in Carvajal. All this crazy, dramatically heavy stuff. And I think that, and we're right about to go into a funeral in the next chapter. And I think this was meant as kind of a decompressor. It was supposed to be like a moment of comic relief to break up all the intensity. But in that way, it kind of does work because it does have a totally different tone than the stuff that surrounds it. But it's just so stupid. I mean, it's just so stupid. I mean, there's the whole thing where Saphira, where you've got Saphira guzzling barrel after barrel of the finest dwarven mead, and everybody's singing and happy. And here's the problem. This this is supposed to be a moment of comic relief. It's supposed to be kind of a decompressor, like I said, from the drama, and it's supposed to be a breather for you. It's supposed to be a light, happy moment. But I feel like an observer. I don't feel like, and granted, when you're reading, you always are, but you don't even feel any of the revelry in this. You're just kind of watching Aragon go about his business, and he deliberates about, am I going too far? Oh, what the hell? Sing, drink, and songs. And that's how this feels. Like you're completely detached from what's happening. And so, to me at least, there's no comedic impact. It just feels like, yet again, for absolutely no reason, the night before something important happens, Aragon gets drunk. At least this time, he's not getting drunk with an old man in the city of, in the home city of the very people they're hunting who are wanting to kill them. So at least there's that. But anyway, it's so dumb. But anyway,
it's just cheesily written as hell. And then the next morning she's like, I have the worst headache.
A pox upon all mead.
God, it's just, yeah. It feels like a D&D session where, because in D&D sessions you can just goof around and do whatever you want, and then of course I'm gonna drink with the dwarves, and of course I'm gonna roll a 20, and I'm gonna guzzle 2 barrels of beer, and of course I'm gonna fall over, and I'm gonna fail recovery, and I'm gonna fall over, and then all the dwarves are gonna be like, oh my god, and then wow. But it really feels like I'm a 15-year-old and I'm writing a story, and what if my characters they got drunk? That's, and it's just dumb. No, please stop.
It's like the part of the part of the session when the DM just gave up. He's like, okay guys, today you're gonna meet with the Dwarven King. And there's a funeral we're also going to do in this session, by the way. And then it just kind of gets out of hand.
Yeah, isn't that the day before the funeral?
It's like the DM's plans for this really cool moment with the Dwarf King get completely thrown off by one of the players announcing that he's just going to have a lucky enough dice roll out magically to be able to heal the Star Sapphire in the future. And the DM's going yeah, like shit you will. But he's going along with it anyway, and then they're like, hey, well, okay, and he's like, well, I guess the dwarves are really happy about it, and yeah, so I guess they throw you a party, because they're really happy that you did this, I guess. Remember, you got a funeral tomorrow. Drunk! Getting drunk! It's what is, and yeah, they have the funeral tomorrow. The funeral is the next day, and literally this chapter meant to pay tribute to Ajahad begins with a joke about hangovers.
And that's why you never really feel like, I never, you're right, it is supposed to be a decompressant compared to everything else that's happened, but you just never ever, the seriousness of anything never really, because everyone dies, or Ajahad dies, and Murtag's missing, and you just, okay, I guess, it never actually, you don't have time to register any of it, because immediately afterward it goes into political intrigue and crap.
Yeah.
And then the funeral's happening tomorrow, but it makes no sense. It starts with fruit drink. It starts with the drink. Think about having a hangover. It's so like this really super important event, which I think to this chapter also isn't just Ajahad's funeral, but it's Nasad was like. Yeah,
That's
like
the next chapter. Her like inauguration.
But it's the same
is the next
day.
chapter.
It's
the same
it's
day.
the same
Yeah,
day.
Same day.
So the same day, like he's got a like, you've got a hangover. You're gonna pledge your loyalty, which is supposed to be this really big important thing for the story, right? That he like outwitted the people. What's a Congress? Doesn't matter. Totally outplayed them, raw. Like it just like, and you're doing that with a hangover. I don't know. I was not feeling it, man. Just not feeling it, bro.
Well, with all that said, tomorrow, everybody, it's more Eldest. Or the next day.
More.
I'm just going to keep
more
saying
Eldest.
tomorrow out of habit, but you guys know what's real. You guys know what's up. So...
You guys are in. You
guys are in the know.
know.
You can think past my misspoken days and times. Next time, it's Requiem. Ajahad's incredibly dramatic and not only dramatic but emotionally resonant funeral. So until then, book Blitz.
Back Blitz.